ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुर्वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। नमो ब्रह्मण्यदेवाय गोब्राह्मण्यहिताय च जगद्गीताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतयोधस्य कृपा सिन्धुवैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Good evening, devotees. Welcome to the Bhagavatam Study Circle. We are reading third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter number 27, Understanding Material Nature. Text 1. The personality of Godhead Kapila continued. When the living entity is thus unaffected by the modes of material nature, because he is unchanging and does not claim proprietorship, he remains apart from the reactions of the modes, although abiding in a material body, just as the sun remains aloof from its reflection on water. Text 2. When the soul is under the spell of material nature and false ego, identifying his body as the self, he becomes absorbed in material activities, and by the influence of false ego, he thinks that he is proprietor of everything. Text 3. The conditioned soul, after transmigrates into different species of life, higher and lower, because of his association with the modes of material nature, unless he is relieved from material activities, he has to accept this position because of his faulty work. Text 4. Actually, a living entity is transcendental to material existence, but because of his mentality of lording it over material nature, his material existential condition does not cease, and just as in a dream, he is affected by all sorts of disadvantages. Text 5. It is the duty of every conditioned soul to engage his polluted consciousness, which is now attached to material engagement, in very serious devotional service with attachment. Thus, his mind and consciousness will be under full control. Text 6. One who has become faithful by practicing the controlling process of the yoga system and must elevate himself to the platform of unalloyed devotional service by chanting and hearing about me. Text 7. In executing devotional service, one has to see every living entity equally, without enmity towards anyone, yet without intimate connections with anyone. One has to observe celibacy, be grave, and execute his eternal activities, offering the results to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 8. For his income, a devotee should be satisfied with what he earns without great difficulty. He should not earn more than what is necessary. He should live in a secluded place and always be thoughtful, peaceful, friendly, compassionate, and self-realized. Text 9. On seeing, uh, on seeing power should be increased. One's seeing power should be increased through knowledge of spirit and matter, and one should not necessarily unnecessarily identify himself with the body and thus become attracted by bodily relationships. Text 10. One should be situated in the transcendental position beyond the stages of material consciousness and should be aloof from all other conceptions of life. Thus, realizing freedom from false ego, one should see in own self as just as he sees the sun in the sky. Text 11. A liberated soul realizes the absolute personality of Godhead, who is transcendental and who is manifest as the reflection even in the false ego. He is the support of the material cause and he enters into everything. He is absolute, one without the second, and he is the eyes of the illusory energy. Text 12. The presence of the Supreme Lord can be realized just as the sun is realized first as a reflection on water and again as a second reflection on the wall of a room, although the sun itself is situated in the sky. Text 13, the self-realized soul is thus reflected first in the threefold ego and then in the body, senses, and mind. Text 14, although a devotee appears to be merged in the five material elements, the objects of material enjoyment, the material senses, and material mind and intelligence, he is understood to be awake and to be freed from the false ego. Text 15, the living entity can vividly feel his existence as the sea, but because of the disappearance of the ego during the stage of deep sleep, he falsely takes himself to be lost. Like a man who has lost his fortune and feels distressed, thinking himself to be lost. Text 16. When by mature understanding one can realize his individuality, then the situation he accepts under false ego becomes manifest to him. Text 17. Sri Devahuti inquired, my dear Brahmana, does material nature ever give release to the spirit soul? Since one is attracted to the other eternally, how is their separation possible? Text 18. As there is no separate existence of the earth and its aroma or of water and its taste, there cannot be any separate existence of intelligence and consciousness. Hence, even though he is the passive performer of all activities, how can there be freedom from the soul as long as material nature acts on him and binds him? Text 20. Even if the great fear of bondage is avoided by material speculation and inquiry into the fundamental principles, it may still appear again since its cause has no ceased, has not ceased. Text 21. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one can get liberation by seriously discharging devotional service onto me and thereby hearing for a long time about me or from me. But by thus executing one's prescribed duties, there will be no reaction and one will be freed from the contamination of matter. Text 22. This devotion service has to be performed strongly in perfect knowledge and with transcendental vision. One must be strongly renounced and must engage in austerity and perform mystic yoga in order to be firmly fixed in self-observation. Option. Text 23. The influence of material nature has covered the living entity, and thus it is as if the living entity were always in a blazing fire. But by the process of seriously discharging devotion service, this influence can be removed, just as wooden sticks which cause a fire are themselves consumed by it. Text 24. By discovering the faultiness of his desiring to lord it over material nature, and by therefore giving it up, the living entity becomes independent and stands in his own glory. Text 25. In the dreaming state, one's consciousness is almost covered and one sees many inauspicious things. But when he is awakened and fully conscious, such inauspicious things cannot bewilder him. Text 26. The influence of the material nature cannot harm an enlightened soul even though he engages in material activities because he knows the truth of the absolute and his mind is fixed on the supreme personality of Godhead. Text 27. When a person thus engages in devotion service and self-realization for many, many years and births, he becomes completely reluctant to enjoy any one of the material planets, even up to the highest planet, which is called Brahmaloka. He becomes fully developed in consciousness. Text 28 to 29. My devotee actually becomes self-realized by my unlimited causeless mercy, and thus, when freed from all doubts, he steadily progresses towards his destined abode, which is directly under the protection of my spiritual energy of unadulterated bliss. That is the ultimate perfectional goal of the living entity. After giving up the present material body, the mystic devotee goes to the transcendental abode and never comes back. Text 30. When a perfect yogist's attention is no longer attracted to the byproducts of mystic powers, which are manifestations of the external energy, his progress towards me becomes unlimited, and thus the power of death cannot overcome him. Hare Krishna. नेक्स्ट कौन
हरे
पढ़ना
कृष्ण
चाहेंगे?
प्रभु।
जी प्रभु।
हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु, पढ़िए प्रभु।
Chapter 28, Kapila's instruction on the execution of devotional service. Text 1. The personality of Godhead said, "My dear mother, O daughter of the king, now I shall explain to you the system of yoga, the object of which is to concentrate the mind. By practicing this system, one can become joyful and progressively advance towards the path of absolute truth." Text 2. One should execute his prescribed duties to the best of his ability and avoid performing duties not allotted to him. One should be satisfied with as much gain as he achieves by the grace of the Lord, and one should worship the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Text 3. One should cease performing conventional religious practices and should be attracted to those which lead to salvation. One should eat very frugally and should always remain scheduled so that he can achieve the highest perfection of life. Text 4. One should practice non-violence and truthfulness, should avoid thieving and be satisfied with possessing as much as he needs for his maintenance. He should abstain from sex life, perform austerities, be clean, study the Vedas, and worship the supreme form of supreme personality of Godhead. Text 5. One must observe silence, acquire steadiness by practicing different yogic postures, control the breathing of the vital air, withdraw the senses from sense objects, and thus concentrate the mind on the heart. Text 6. Fixing the vital air and the mind in one of the 6 circles of vital air circulation within the body, thus concentrating one's mind on the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is called Samadhi or Samadhana of the mind. Text 7. By these processes or any other true process, one must control the contaminated, unbuilded mind, which is always attracted by material enjoyment, and thus fix himself in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 8. After controlling one's mind and sitting postures, one should spread a seat in the scheduled and sanctified place. Sit there in an easy posture, keeping the body erect, and practice breath control. Text 9. The yogi should clear the passage of vital air by breathing in the following manner. First, he should inhale very deeply, then hold the breath in, and finally exhale. Or reversing the process, the yogigan first exhale, then control the breath outside, and finally inhale. This is done so that the mind may become steady and free from external disturbances. Text 10. The yogis who practice such breathing exercises and very soon freed from all mental disturbances, just as gold, when put into fire and fanned with air, becomes free from all impurities. Text 11. By practicing of pranayama, one can eradicate the contamination of his physiological condition, and by concentrating the mind, one can become free from all sinful activities. By restraining the senses, one can free himself from the material association, and by meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can become free from the 3 modes of material attachment. Text 12. When the mind is perfectly purified by the practice of yoga, one should concentrate on the tip of the nose with half closed eyes and see the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 13. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has a cheerful, lotus like countenance with ruddy eyes like the interior of a lotus, and a swarthy body like the petals of a blue lotus. He bears a conch, discus, and mace in 3 of his hands. Text 14. His lions are covered by a shining cloth, yellowish like the filament of a lotus. On his breast he bears the mark of Shivasta, a coil of white hair. The brilliant Kaustubha is suspended from his neck. Text 15. He also wear around his neck a garland of attractive sylvan flowers, sylvan flowers, and a swarm of bees intoxicated by his delicious fragrance hums about the garland. He is further superbly adorned with a pearl necklace, a crown, and a pair of armlets, bracelets, and anklets. Text 16. His lions and his loins and hips encircled by a girdle. He stand on the lotus. He stands on a lotus of his devotee's heart. He is the most charming at. He is most charming to look at, and his and he accepts aspects gladdens the eyes and souls of the devotees who behold him. Text 17. The Lord is externally beautiful and he is worshipable by all the inhabitants of every planet. He is very youthful and always eager to bestow his blessings upon his devotees. Text 18. The glory of the Lord is always worth singing, for his glories enhance the glories of his devotees. One should therefore meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead and upon his devotees. One should meditate on the external form of the Lord until the mind becomes fixed. Text
Prabhu,
19.
eternal
Thus
form,
always
Prabhu, eternal form.
eternal sorry bro. One should meditate on the eternal maybe सोचा उधर external form क्यों लिखा है. One should meditate on the eternal form of the Lord until the mind becomes fixed. Text 19. Thus always merged in devotional service, the yogi visualizes the Lord standing, moving, lying down, or sitting within him. For the pastimes of the Supreme Lord are always beautiful and attractive. Text 20. In fixing his mind on the eternal form of the Lord, the yogi should not take a collective view of all his limbs, but should fix the mind on each individual limb of the Lord. Text 21. The devotee should first concentrate his mind on the Lord's lotus feet, which are adorned with the marks of a thunderbolt, a gourd, a banner, and a lotus. The splendor of their beautiful ruby nails resembles the orb of the moon and dispels the thick gloom of one's heart. Text 22. The blessed Lord Shiva becomes all the more blessed by by bearing on his head the holy waters of the Ganges, which has its source in the water, which has its source in the water that washed the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord's feet act like thunderbolts hurled to shatter the mountain of sin stored in the minds of meditating devotee. One should therefore meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord for a long time. Text 23. The yogi should fix in his heart the activities of Lakshmi, the goddesses of fortune, who is wondered by all demigods and is the mother of the supreme person, Brahma. She can she can always be found massaging the legs and thighs of the transcendental Lord, very carefully serving him in this way. Text 24. Next, the yogi should fix his mind in meditation on the personality of Godhead's thighs, the storehouse of all energy. The Lord's thighs are whitish blue, like the lustre of a linseed flower, and appear most graceful when the Lord is carried on the shoulder of Garuda. Also, the yogi should contemplate his rounded hips, which are encircled by a girdle that rests on the executive yellow silk cloth that extends down to his ankles. Text 25. The yogi should then meditate on his moon-like navel in the center of his abdomen. From his navel, which is the foundation of the entire universe, sprang the lotus stem containing all the different planetary systems. The lotus is the residence of Brahma, the first created being. In the same way, yogi should concentrate his mind on the Lord's nipples, which resembles a pair of most exquisite emeralds and which appears whitish because of the rays of the milk white pearl necklace adorning his chest. Text 26. The yogi should then meditate on the chest of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the abode of Goddesses Mahalakshmi. The Lord's chest is the source of all transcendental pleasure for the mind and full satisfaction for the eyes. The yogi should then imprint on his mind the neck of the personality of Godhead, who is adored by the entire universe. The neck of the Lord serves to enhance the beauty of the Kaustubha, which hangs on his chest. Text 27. The yogi should further meditate upon Lord's four arms, which are the source of all powers of the demigods who control the various functions of material nature. Then the yogi should concentrate on the polished ornaments which were burnished by Mount Mandara. As it revolved, he should also duly contemplate the Lord's discus, the Sudarshana Chakra, which contains 1,000 spokes and a dazzling lustre, as well as the conch, who looks like a swan in his lotus-like palm. Swan in his lotus-like palm. Text 28. The yogi should meditate upon his club, which is named Kaumodaki, Kaumodaki, and is very dear to him. The club smashes the demons who are always in, inimical soldiers and is smeared with their blood. One should also concentrate on the nice garland on the neck of the Lord, which is always surrounded by bumblebees, which with their nice buzzing sound. One should meditate upon the pearl necklace on the Lord's neck, which is considered to represent the pure living entities who are always engaged in his service. Text 29. The yogi then should then the yogi should then meditate on the lotus-like countenance of the Lord, who presents his different form of this present the different forms in this world out of compassion for the anxious devotees. His nose is prominent and his crystal clear cheeks are illuminated by the oscillations of his glittered alligator shaped earrings. Text 30. The yogi then meditate upon the beautiful face of the Lord, which is adorned with curly hairs and decorated by lotus-like dancing eyebrows. A lotus surrounded by swarming bees and a pair of swimming fish would be put to shame by its elegance. Text 31. The yogis should contemplate with full devotion the compassionate glances frequently cast by the Lord's eyes, for they shoot the most fearful threefold agonies of his devotees. His glances, accompanied by loving smiles, are full of abundant grace. Text 32. A yogi should similarly meditate on the most benevolent smile of Lord Sri Hari, a smile which, for all those who bow to him, dries away the ocean of tears caused by the intense grief. The yogi should also meditate on the Lord's arched eyebrows, which are manifested by his eternal potency in order to charm the, the sex god for the good of the sages. 633. With devotion steeped in love and affection, the yogi should meditate within the core of his heart upon the laughter of Lord Vishnu. The laughter of Vishnu is so captivating that it can be easily meditated upon. When the Supreme Lord is laughing, one can see his small teeth, which resemble jasmine buds rendered rosy by the splendor of his lips. Once devoting his mind on this, the yogi should no longer desire to see anything else. 634. By following this course, the yogi gradually develops pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari. In the course of his progress in devotional service, the hairs on his body stand erect through excessive joy, and he constantly bathes in the stream of tears occasioned by intense love. Gradually, even the mind, when he used as a means to attract the Lord, as one can attract a fish to a hook, withdraws from material activity. Text 35. When the mind is thus completely freed from all material contamination and detached from the material objective, it is just like the flame of a lamp. At that time, the mind is actually dovetailed with that of the Supreme Lord and is experienced as one with Him, because it is freed from the interactive flow of the material qualities. Text 36. Thus situated in the highest transcendental stage, the mind ceases from all material reaction and becomes situated in its own glory, transcendental to all material conceptions of happiness and distress. At that time, the yogi realizes the truth of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He discovers that pleasure and pain, as well as their interactions, which he attributed to his own self, are actually due to the false ego, which is the product of ignorance. Text 37. Because he has achieved his real identity, the perfectly realized soul has no conception of how the material body is moving or acting, just as an intoxicated person cannot understand whether or not he has clothing on his body. Text 38. The body of such a liberated yogi, along with the senses, is taken charge of by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it functions until its destined activities are finished. The liberated devotee, being being awake of his constitutional position and thus situated in samadhi, the highest perfectional stage of yoga, does not accept the byproduct of the material body as its own. Thus, he considers his bodily activities to be wait a second, to be the activities to be like the activities of the body in a dream. Text 39. Because of his great affection for family and wealth, one accepts a son and some money as his own, and due to the affection for the material body, one thinks that it is his, but actually as one can understand that his family and wealth are different from him, the liberated soul can understand that he and his bodies are not the same. Text 40. The blazing fire is different from the flames, from the sparks, and from the smoke, although all are intimately connected because they are born from the same blazing wood. Text 41. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Param Brahma, is the seer. He is different from the Jiva soul or individual living entity who is combined with the senses, the five elements, and consciousness. Text 42. A yogi should see the same soul in all manifestation, for all that exist in the manifestation of different energies of the Supreme. In this way, the devotee should see all living entities without distinction. That is the realization of Supreme Soul. Text 43. As fire is exhibited in different forms of wood, so under different condition of the modes of material nature, the pure spirit soul manifests itself in different bodies. Text 44. Thus, the yogi can be in the self-realized position after conquering the insurmountable spell Maya Maya, who presents herself as both cause and effect of this material manifestation, and is therefore difficult to understand. Hare Krishna.
कृष्णा तो आगे पढ़ सकते हैं जो भी चाहें
जी मैं ट्राई करूं
करिए
Chapter 29 Explanation of Devotional Service by Lord Kapil. Text 1 and 2. Devahuti inquired, My dear Lord, you have already very scientifically described the symptoms of the total material nature and the characteristics of the spirit according to the Sankhya system of philosophy. Now I shall request you to explain the path of devotional service, which is the ultimate end of all philosophical systems. Text 3. Devahuti continued, My dear Lord, please also describe in detail, both for me and for the people in general, the continual process of birth and death, for by hearing of such calamities we may become detached from the activities of this material world. Text 4. Please also describe eternal time, which is a representation of your form, and by whose influence people in general engage in the performance of pious activity. Text 5. My dear Lord, you are just like the sun, for you illuminate the darkness of the conditional life of the living entities. Because their eyes of knowledge are not open, they are sleeping eternally in that darkness without your shelter. And therefore, they are falsely engaged by the actions and the actions of their material activities, and they appear to be very fatigued. Text 6. Sri Maitreya said, O best amongst the Guru, the great sage Kapila, moved by great compassion and pleased by the words of his glorious mother, spoke as follows. Text 7. Lord Kapila, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, replied, O noble lady, there are multifarious paths of devotional service in the terms of the different qualities of the executor. Text 8. Devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent, and angry, and who is a separatist, is considered to be in the mode of darkness. Text 9. The worship of deities in the temple by a separatist with a motive for material enjoyment, fame, and opulence is devotion in the mode of passion. Text 10. When a devotee worships the Supreme Personality of God and offers the results of his activities in order to free himself from the inebrities of fruitive activities, his devotion is in the mode of goodness. Texts 11 and 12. The manifestation of unadulterated devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing in everyone's heart. Just as the water of the Ganges flows naturally down towards the ocean, such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows towards the Supreme Lord. Text 13. A pure devotee does not accept any kind of liberation, Shalokya, Sarsti, Samipya, Sarupya, or Ekatva, even though they are offered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 14. By attaining the highest platform of devotional service, as I have explained, one can overcome the influence. Sorry for the interruption. Three modes of material nature and be situated in the transcendental stage as is the Lord. Text 15. A devotee must execute his prescribed duties, which are glorious, without material profit. Without excessive violence, one should regularly perform one's devotional activities. Text 16. The devotee should regularly see my statues in the temple, touch my lotus feet, and offer worshipable paraphernalia and prayer. He should see in the spirit of renunciation from the mode of goodness and see every living entity as spiritual. Text 17. The pure devotee should execute devotional service by giving the greatest respect to the spiritual master and the acharyas. He should be compassionate to the poor and make friendship with persons who are as his equals. But all his activities should be executed under regulation and with control of the senses. Text 18. A devotee should always try to hear about spiritual matters and should always utilize his time in chanting the holy name of the Lord. His behavior should always be straightforward and simple, and although he is not envious but friendly to everyone, he should avoid the company of persons who are not spiritually advanced. Text 19. When one is fully qualified with all these transcendental attributes, and his consciousness is thus completely purified, he is immediately attracted simply by hearing my name or hearing of my transcendental quality. Text 20. As a chariot of air carries an aroma from its source and immediately catches a sense of smell, similarly, one who constantly engages in devotional service in Krishna consciousness can catch the Supreme Soul, who is equally present everywhere. Text 21. I am present in every living entity as the Super Soul. If someone neglects or disregards that Super Soul everywhere and engages himself in the worship of the deity in the temple, that is simply imitation. Text 22. One who worships the deity of Godhead in the temples but does not know that the Super Soul as Paramatma is situated in every living entity's heart must be in ignorance and is compared to one who offers oblations into ashes. Text 23. One who offers me respect but is envious of the bodies of others and is therefore a separatist never attains peace of mind because of his inimical behavior towards other living entities. Text 24. My dear mother, even if he worships with proper rituals and paraphernalia, a person who is ignorant of my presence in all living entities never pleases me by the worship of my deities in the temple. Text 25. Performing his prescribed duties, one should worship the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead until one realizes my presence in his own heart and in the hearts of other living entities as well. Text 26. As a blazing fire of death, I cause great fear to whoever makes the least discrimination between himself and other living entities because of a differential outlook. Text 27. Therefore, through charitable gifts and attention, as well as through friendly behavior and by viewing all to be alike, one should propitiate me. One should propitiate me who abide in all creatures as their very self. Text 28. Living entities are superior to inanimate objects, O blessed mother. And among them, living entities who display life symptoms are better. Animals with developed consciousness are better than them, and better still are those who have developed sense perception. Text 29. Among the living entities who have developed sense perception, those who have developed the sense of taste are better than those who have developed only the sense of touch. Better than them are those who have developed the sense of smell, and better still are those who have developed the sense of hearing. Text 30. Better than those living entities who can perceive sound are those who can distinguish between one form and another. Better than them are those who have developed upper and lower sets of teeth, and better still are those who have many legs. Better than them are the quadrupeds, and better still are the human beings. Text 31. Among human beings, the society which is divided according to quality and work is best. And in that society, the intelligent men who are designated as Brahmanas are best. Among the Brahmanas, one who has studied the Vedas is the best, and among the Brahmanas who has studied the Vedas, one who knows the actual purport of Veda is the best. Text 32. Better than the Brahmana who knows the purpose of Vedas is he who can dissipate all doubts, and better than him is one who strictly follows the Brahmanican principles. Better than him is one who is liberated from all material contamination, and better than him is the pure devotee who executes devotional service without expectation of reward. Text 33. Therefore, I do not find a greater person than he who has no interests outside of mine, and who therefore engages and dedicates all his activities and all his life, everything onto me without cessation. Text 34. Such a perfect devotee offers respects to every entity because he is under the firm conviction that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has entered the body of every living entity as the supersoul or controller. Text 35. My dear mother, O daughter of Manu, a devotee who applies the science of devotional service and mystic yoga in this way can achieve the abode of Supreme Person simply by devotional service. Text 36. This Purusha whom the individual soul must approach is the eternal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Brahman and Paramatma. He is a transcendental chief personality and his activities are all spiritual. Text 37. The time factor, who causes the transformation of the various material manifestations, is another feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who does not know that time is the same Supreme Personality is afraid of the time factor. Text 38. Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the enjoyer of all sacrifices, is the time factor and the master of all masters. He enters everyone's heart. He is the support of everyone, and he causes every being to be annihilated by another. Text 39. No one is dear to the Supreme Personality of God, nor is anyone his enemy or friend. But he gives inspiration to those who have not forgotten him and destroys those who have. Text 40. Out of fear of the Supreme Personality of God, and the wind blows. Out of fear of him, the sun shines. Out of fear of him, the rain pours forth showers. And out of fear of him, the host of heavenly bodies shed their luster. Text 41. Out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trees, creepers, herbs, and seasonal plants and flowers blossom and fructify, each in its own season. Text 42. Out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the river flows and the ocean never overflows. Out of fear of him only does fire burn, and does the earth with its mountains not sink in the water of the universe. Text 43. Subject of the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sky allows outer space to accommodate all various planets which hold innumerable living entities. The total universal body expands its 7 coverings under his supreme control. Out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the directing demigods in charge of the modes of material nature carry out the functions of creation, maintenance, and destruction. Everything animate and inanimate within this material world is within their control. Text 45. The eternal time factor has no beginning and no end. It is the representative of the Supreme Personality of God, the maker of the criminal worlds. It brings about the end of the phenomenal world. It carries on the work of creation by bringing one individual into existence from another and likewise it dissolves the universe by destroying even the Lord of Death, Imraj. Okay, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा।
उधर लिखा था 7 कवरिंग्स कि 8 कवरिंग्स यूनिवर्स का, मतलब 8
ये
कवरिंग्स होता है ना, उधर अभी लिखा था ना 7 कवरिंग्स यूनिवर्स के। हाँ अभी
7 लिखा है,
पता नहीं प्रोवाइड करने के बारे में।
7 कवर जी,
उधर ऊपर था, 42 43 में था 7
40
कवरिंग्स,
43 में
8
आई,
कवर 43 में आई है जरा।
ये 43।
7 कवरिंग्स मतलब वो जो 8 कवरिंग ना 7 कवरिंग होता है उसमें।
मुझे अपने 8 कवरिंग कहीं पढ़ा था या कैसे प्रो जी?
वही तो 8 कवरिंग होता, मतलब वो 5 पदार्थ, फिर फर्स्ट ईगो, माइंड एंड इंटेलिजेंस, 8 हो गई, ये 7 इधर
अरे
है।
वो तो अलग है, वो तो अष्टदा अलग है, वो कवरिंग नहीं है। वो तो बोल रहे हैं ना, भूमिर अपुनलो वायो खाम बुद्धि मनोरेव च अहंकार इति मन्ये प्रकृति भिन्न अष्टदा, ये बोल रहे हैं ना आप?
ये प्रभु जी।
वो तो भगवान अपने 8 अलग अलग फीचर्स बताते हैं। भूमिर अपुनलो वायो, 5 मटेरियल फीचर्स, 3 मन बुद्धि अहंकार, ऐसा करके 8 होता है। इसमें वही बताया गया है क्या? ये खोल के देख लेते हैं इसमें क्या बोला गया है 7 के बारे में।
जी प्रभु जी।
क्या बोला गया है?
माइंड, इंटेलिजेंस एंड ईगो वाला।
5 elements within the universe.
यस,
So the total element in layers cover outside the universe. The first layer is of earth, and then 10 times greater is the space and universe. The second layer is water, 10 times greater earthly layer. The third layer is fire. In this way, each layer is 10 times greater than the previous one.
तो 7 है ना, फिर उधर 8 है लिखा है, इधर 7 है।
8 कौन सा? वही वाला बोल रहे हैं ना जो मैं बोला भगवत गीता का?
हाँ हाँ जी प्रभु, वही में कल जो तुकाराम प्रभु जी भेजे थे उसमें तो 7 कवरिंग्स था, लेकिन और एक जो मैं भेजा था ग्रुप में उसमें 8 कवरिंग्स थी यूनिवर्स में लिखे थे, उस फोटो में 8 कवरिंग्स है।
वो एक्चुअली प्रभु जी, आप जो 8 बता रहे हैं वो 8 कवरिंग नहीं है, 8 एक्चुअली एलिमेंट्स जो मैं बता रहा हूँ ना, जो भूमि रपो नलो वायो, कुछ 8 कवरिंग्स नहीं है, 8 फीचर्स हैं। फीचर्स कहने का मतलब 8 अलग अलग वस्तुएं हैं जिससे ये मटेरियल वर्ल्ड का नेचर है। मटेरियल नेचर जो है, भगवान बोलते हैं ना, प्रकृति भिन्न अष्टदा, ये मेरे प्रकृति के 8 भिन्न अंग हैं। ये हम देख लेते हैं, यहाँ पे भगवान बोलते हैं लाइब्रेरी, उसमें भगवान 7